Well, we've been covering the rapid rise of Bitcoin this year. The crypto economy is actually one of the big drivers of the world of ETFs in 2025. We've seen huge numbers in terms of the inflows in the United States and a lot of activity in Canada as well. Valerie Grimba joining us. She's Director of Global ETF Strategy at RBC Capital Markets. Good to see you. The crypto story, I don't know if it's sort of the chicken or the egg, but the demand for crypto through the ETF world is seen through the flows. What exactly have those flows look like?
I think you used the adjective huge, and that's the perfect one to describe it. It has really been the story of 2025. $12 billion in July alone went into cryptocurrency ETFs in the US. And it was, I think last time I was on here, I said it was a Bitcoin world and that Ether was just living in it. And Ether has since said, hold my beer, and rallied over 50% in the month of July, and fund flows followed. And to give an idea of magnitude here, $1 billion of AUM in Ether ETFs at the start of the year. They gained $5.5 billion of net new money. This is X, the performance. It's just new inflows. So just huge inflows there. And you're right. The story is all about ETFs providing that access to investors. So before, cryptocurrency investing had all these friction points. You had to have a 20-character passcode. You had to worry about cold, warm storage or wallet, and potentially getting hacked. And you kind of mitigate all these risks and make it very easily tradable through an ETF that actually holds the underlying cryptocurrency. Yeah,
there's not a lot of analysts per se who sort of project where cryptocurrencies are going, but one who gets cited a lot has often used the ETF boom as the reason why he thinks there will be more demand going forward. Just out of curiosity, Valerie, are you guys able to track what kind of demand we're talking about? Because there might be some people who are still reluctant to move into crypto, but ETFs are ETFs, and everybody buys ETFs.
Exactly, and I would say the demand has come across the entire investor spectrum. So we're seeing institutions be able to buy these things in size and kind of under the radar too. We've also seen advisor adoption. So all of a sudden they can add Bitcoin or Ether or cryptocurrency exposure to their clients' portfolios very easily and seamlessly through our TradFi world. And then also, of course, the individual investor too. It just makes ease of access and liquidity and transparency and all of these great things we love about the ETF wrapper really kind of bring viability and proof of concept to cryptocurrency investing and making it more mainstream.
There's a lot of focus every day on what's happening at the White House. We talk about it through the lens of trade with Canada, but there's a sort of a general perception that the current administration is a crypto-friendly one on sort of a range of levels. How has that factored in, do you think, to this boom?
Yes, I think that very much talks to the demand and also the price appreciation, right? We kind of had this genius bill being tabled about U.S. advancing stable coins and bringing some kind of legitimacy to the investment thesis as well. And so I think you can see those are moving hand in hand.
And so I guess, for the ETF industry itself, where there's been massive growth, is there is there a parallel storyline there? Because one could argue that there's a lot of flavors in ETF. The industry is very accepting of people wanting to try different things. Is that another catalyst, do you think, for people? It's one thing to just have products that might require fewer passcodes for getting into cryptocurrency, but is it the fact that the ETF providers have been very quick to sort of offer products?
Absolutely, and I think we're seeing this real coming of age for the ETF industry as a whole. They're reaching this maturity phase, and all of a sudden we can offer clients a wide variety of products through almost surgically precise tactile ETFs, single stock ETFs. You have covered call ETFs. We can break it apart or push it all together in an incredible amount of different products coming to market.
Like how big are we talking in terms of the growth for the ETF market at this point in Canada?
So it's just like a record amount of launches so far this year. Over 165 products in Canada in the first 7 months of the year is nothing shy of incredible. I think that's about the 2024 full year number, which again was a record in any kind of year before that.
And then I guess, crypto is still such a young asset class when we compare it to everything else on the table, including gold, right? Yes. I wonder what you'll be tracking in terms of the ETF activity, just to try to determine where we are in this particular cycle?
Yes. Well, what the ETF flows have told us in July is that ETF investors have been very risk-on, very bullish, and a wide variety of ETFs. So there's good breadth in this type of strategies and investment thesis that they're buying. So we're seeing huge inflows into S&P 500 exposure. So that's kind of your passive index money. But we're also seeing very interesting, maybe more niche segments also seeing inflows. So pockets of the market like Chinese tech or financials or dividend ETFs. So to us, that indicates a very strong, healthy buyer.